Hey guys, when you get this thing delivered, it comes in a crate. It's about 330 pounds. It's on some skids. They'll drop it off with the pallet jack. The dimensions are 35 inches by 51 inches and 34 inches across. So you want to get this thing put down somewhere where you can move it around on a moving blanket. It's easier to move around. If you don't put it on a moving blanket, it's going to scratch up your garage floor a little bit. So you just want to put that down before it arrives and they'll put it on there for you. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bend up these tabs on the crate and we're going to get this whole crate to lift off in one piece. If you got two people, if there's only one of you, then I suggest that you lift up the tabs on each side and pull out each side individually. So I'm going to get a close-up and show you how that's done. I suggest you use about a 12-inch flathead screwdriver. Get a hammer, get a pair of needle nose. Those will be the best way to bend the tabs. First you got to get the flathead behind the tab, tap it on the top with the hammer, pop it out a little bit. You might see the bottom of the crate bend a little bit. Get the flathead back in there, twist it a little bit to the left or right and you'll see the tab popping out. Then get those needle nose on there and just grip it across. And that's just going to kind of keep the tab straight and just hit it with the hammer a little bit. It'll bend the tab, just bends it a little bit straighter. Okay, I got that second tab from the left bent. I'm going to show you how to get the rest of these four done. A little bit farther away so you can see. Once you get that tab pulled away a little bit and you get those needle nose on there, it'll keep that tab nice and straight. So when you hammer it down, it doesn't get wavy. It'll pull through a little bit easier. Of course, the knee pad doesn't hurt. See how those needle nose hold that tab nice and straight. Don't worry about that bottom metal piece on the bottom of the crate if it bends out a little bit. There we go, got the front done. Okay, so I straightened out all the tabs. There's 4 on the front, there's 3 on the sides, there's 4 in the back. Just kind of straighten them all out. 3 more on this side. So there's 14 altogether. So once you get all those tabs straight on the bottom, you might have to go over here by the metal, bend it out a little bit at the bottom of the crate on each one of these tabs, just so it has more room to slide those tabs through. So I'm just taking my flathead, twisting it, giving it a twist on the front. Do the same on the sides, on each one of the 3 on the sides. That just gives it a little bit more space so that you lift it up and there's not as much friction holding it down. Otherwise it'll appear a little heavier than it actually is. So just walk around. Go to each one of those tabs, put the screwdriver behind the metal that's at the bottom of the crate. Give the screwdriver a twist left and right, and all you're doing is bending it out a little bit. That'll give it more room to pull through. Then go over to the crate, give it a little bit of a shake here, left and right. Bump it a little bit with your knees. You can see it starting to lift. So I'm just going to hit it with my knees a little bit, a little bump. You can see all the tabs are out. It's a little heavy, probably about 20 pounds. So by yourself, not the easiest, but it's nice to get it off in one piece. So I'm just shimming it up. Hardest part, holding one side, lifting the other, and then you'll see it falling down on the other side. Way easier with two people, but not impossible by yourself. Use your toe, boot it up a little bit, give you a little bit extra lift. And take that whole sucker right off. There you go. Not too bad. Solo. Next what we're going to do, we're going to unwrap this puppy. Start ripping off all of the shrink wrap. Toss that shrink wrap off to the side. You're going to see some parts in here. There's an Allen wrench, some Allen bolts for the legs, power cord, some extra parts for the buttons, and of course the two keys. Legs are sitting here right on top, wrapped in shrink wrap. Just grab those. I'll set those aside for later. And then take off the wrap. Let's see what we got. There we go. Got the machine visible now. I'm just going to move all that junk out of the way, set up the camera, give you a better shot of how I lift it, rest it on my thigh, and then put on the legs. Okay, now the fun part. So grab those legs you set aside earlier, get the shrink wrap off. We're going to need those now. Each one's wrapped in a pair, so we just need two of them. Get them close by so that we can grab them. We're going to try and do this by ourselves. See if you have some kind of padding, knee pad. I'm going to put it on my thigh so when I lift the machine I can rest it on my thigh, use the knee pad. Grab that parts bag. Get those Allen bolts for the legs, they're wrapped up in here. Make sure you get the Allen. Okay, so we need those two. Set the other stuff aside for now. Make sure we have the bolts close by. Put them in your pocket if you want, or just put them out on the table, small table, chair next to you will do. You can even use a small chair to pick the machine up and set it on top of too. It's just as easy with your thigh. Now each leg needs 2 bolts, so make sure we have at least 4 bolts. And make sure we got the Allen wrench somewhere where we can grab it. Alright, show you how we're going to do this. Oh, by the way, the bottom of the pallet has this metal rail on it. So it'd be a good idea, in case you got to set it down if it gets too heavy, get a bunch of cardboard, get like 4 sheets, cut it, make sure it's about 34 inches long, and let's set it on top of that metal rail, just in case we got to set it down so we don't damage the cabinet, because that thing's pretty sharp. The cabinet weighs quite a bit. So if we're just going to, and you'll have some finger room on both sides of the cabinet, so just kind of get that cardboard over there, lift the machine and pull it towards you. Easier said than done. It's quite heavy. As you can see, it is pretty heavy. Moving blanket underneath makes it move around a little bit. It'd be better if we can just get that moving blanket out of there. But again, beggars can't be choosers if we're by ourselves. So now what I want to do is I want to get the cabinet over the end of the pallet on top of the cardboard. Two people, definitely more helpful. All right, I got that sucker right at the edge. Be right back. All right, this thing's pretty much a beast. I really recommend that you have at least two people. You kind of need one person lifting it and one person shimmying the cardboard underneath. I got to bring this cabinet about 6 inches over the edge, and as I'm pulling it, everything's sliding, so you really need a second person just to kind of keep the bottom of the pallet from moving around. It's kind of a pain doing it by yourself. So I'll struggle with it a little bit more on camera so you can see what I came up with over here. Yeah, it's just sliding a little bit. I'm gonna have to use my foot, hold the bottom of the pallet. Not ideal. Gotta do what you gotta do. You can see I'm having trouble with that cardboard too. Inch by inch. Kind of rock it side to side. It's going. Just got to make sure that cardboard doesn't come off that rail. Getting close. All right. See if I got enough clearance. Don't quite have enough to get it. Having trouble with that cardboard. Sliding all over the place. There we go. Got a little bit of room on the edge. Take a break and then I'll lift it up. So I had a couple of things I thought of as I was resting, fighting with that thing. I think you should get a moving blanket, roll it up, so that you can put this behind the cabinet. Because once you get this virtual pin pulled off of the pallet a little bit more so you can lift it, you're going to be putting a lot of pressure as you lift it to get those front legs on the back of the cabinet, so you can just shove this in the back. It'll give it a little extra padding. So I just took a moving blanket, rolled it up, just going to put it right behind the cabinet. Stuff it underneath there a little bit, so that way when I'm lifting it up, it's going to give it a little bit of padding. The other thing is this thing's slipping around so much, I think it'd be worthwhile getting some rubber door stops and putting them underneath, especially on this side, on the bottom of the pallet. Because since it's on the moving blanket, you know, when you're pulling on the pinball, it's just pulling the bottom of the pallet. So, you know, you're taking your foot and trying to shove it underneath the bottom of the pallet to hold it. Better just to get a couple rubber door stops and then pound them underneath the moving blanket. It'll hold it in place a little bit better. I couldn't find enough, and I've been fighting with this, and I've got it closer to the edge, so I thought I'd see how much I got left here. So I'm going to try and pull it off a little bit more. It's going a lot easier now. Just keeping that cardboard in place. A little bit of a pain. It's a beast. Alright, I got this thing about a foot over. I'm going to adjust that moving blanket on the back, so when I'm lifting it up, I get some good padding on it. Try and lift this up and get some of these legs on. Get that knee pad in here. sliding around a little bit. There we go. Might be a good idea to get some cabinet protectors. Put them underneath the legs. Unless you're doing it a one and done, then you don't have to worry about it. Just get these on finger tight. This one doesn't want to go. Get this Allen on here. And I'm putting upward pressure on the leg because it's going to be taken all the way to the cabinet so it doesn't slide around on the wrap. Get this other leg, switch legs. I know you can't see this side. It is sliding back a little bit on me. So I'm kind of on my tippy toe. Not ideal. Just lift it up a little more. Just don't put it too far. Things flip on you. So watch your center of mass. Alright, I got both these legs on. Set it down slow. There you go. Half the work done. A little bit of rest. I'll set up for the other side, show you how to finish it off. Alright, I gotta fight with this thing a little bit now on the back side. I gotta move the entire machine off the pallet so I can get some good leverage off here. I'm too far off center from this heavy thing. So I got another blanket, moving blanket, rolled it up, put it in the back. I'm just going to try and lift it a little bit and slide it kind of up here. Just to get it back off of this pallet. So I have some room to lift it again. And again, the blanket is there just so I have some padding, you know, on that metal bar. Looks like I'm as far as I can go. See if I can move the whole thing over a little bit so I have more room. Here we go. Got the legs close by. Got the bolts, got my Allen, got my knee pad ready. Give it a shot. Definitely want that knee pad. Feel the burn on that. It's a pretty heavy deadlift. Got to be at least 100 pounds. I felt that. Good times. Hardest part is just keeping from sliding on the moving blanket. A bit rough. Three legs on. One more to go. Like to switch legs, so I'm not doing Pilates. tight. Two people, a lot easier. But you know how it is. Can't wait to set it up. It's like a kid on Christmas. Unwrap the presents, get them set up, and start playing. Alright, I got all these legs on. Now I gotta maneuver this crate out of here, and then we'll be good to go. There we go. I think I got it clear, almost. There we go. Freedom. Whew, that was a tough one. Take a break and then I'll set the rest up for you. Alright, now that we got all four legs on, before we put the back box up, we want to put the hard drive in. So make sure you have your hard drive handy. It ships separately. A little box. And we're going to have to come around to the plunger, and the keys are zip tied onto the plunger, so we're going to have to cut those off with some diagonal cutters. Alright, let's get the rest of the shrink wrap off of here. Get that key. Maybe. There we go. And that's going to give us access to the inside of the cabinet. Pretty dark. Have to reset the camera so you can get a good shot and see where to install that hard drive. So make sure you get the hard drive. Came in that box. Little drive. Here it is right here. This black side will be the side that's going to be facing up, not the other side. Okay, so the black side will be facing up, and we'll be installing it, and then we'll be lowering it, and we'll be putting a screw in. Okay, this is just to show you where the hard drive goes through the rear door. Just to give you a little shot in here. You can see all the components over here. Get a good shot inside. Here we go. Now the access for the hard drive is right underneath this rainbow cable. So you got to kind of move it out of the way so that you can see the slot where to put the hard drive. So you can see this cable right here. You got to kind of move it out of the way a little bit and look from this angle, and then you're going to see a little, you'll see a little, actually you can see it on this side too. You'll see this little black piece right here. And here's the hard drive. It goes black side up. So it's kind of right underneath this rainbow cable. You'll see a little black connector. And you just have to push the hard drive into the slot, and it kind of sticks up a little bit. See how it's sticking up? And there's a screw right underneath here. So you're going to need a Phillips number 0 to get this screw out right here. And then you can use it to secure the hard drive. It's a little dark, it's hard to see. use that light if it's too bright. So I got this little tiny screw. It's right here. It's going to go in that corner of the hard drive right there. Just going to make sure. Put the hard drive in there. Again, it's a Phillips 0. It's going to be kind of hard to see. That's it. Hard drive is installed. Show you a freehand shot to get a better idea what it looks like. Alright, so you can see the hard drive over there, and then the screw that I was fiddling with is in that corner right there. And the connector is actually right underneath this rainbow cable. There you can see it a little bit. So it's right underneath that rainbow cable. You can also see it on this side. If I get some of these wires out of the way. It's a little hard to see, right? I've lost where I'm at. Here I am. You can see the hard drive. It's right on the edge over there. Try and do a better shot. It's hard to hold this flashlight and the video at the same time. Not too easy here. Trying to avoid all the shadows. But you can see the connector right there. Okay, that's another shot of the CPU. I'm going to close this back door. Lock it. Alright, grab that bag that you set aside. It has 4 wing nuts, screws, and 4 washers. We'll need that. And set the rest of it aside. And what we're going to do is we're going to lift the back box, and we're going to make sure that these wires aren't getting pinched as we lift it. So we're going to guide those wires into that hole if we need to. Come on this side. So we're going to lift the back box, we're going to guide these wires in. We just don't want the wires to get cut as we lift. It's a little heavy for one person. You're going to have to have really good grip on it. Make sure those wires are going down, down, down. And then the back box will be pretty secure. Now you're going to need that key that you set aside, because now what we're going to do is open up this top cabinet so we can have access to secure the back box. Now you're going to have 4 of these. You can use 2, it'll secure it quite well with the washers. They're going to go in these holes right here, and then there's 2 back here. So just put in the washer, put the bolt. Show you all 4, and then we'll find the holes, we'll tighten them up. That's just going to secure the back box so it doesn't fall over. It's quite heavy. And again, there's wing nuts because you don't have to tighten them with a wrench or anything. Hand tight, don't overdo it, you don't need to strip them. Shake the screws up a little bit, twist them, you'll find the hole. Finger tight, give it a little quarter turn, make sure it's secured. That's it. Got those 4 guys in there. Close it up. Next step, power cord. Let's turn this thing on. Okay, grab that bag you set aside. It has a power cord in it. You don't need the rest of it. The rest of it's spare parts. And plugs in right back here. Plug this puppy in, and the master switch is on the back. We're going to turn that on. So here's the master switch. It's red. It's got a vertical line on it. All right, let's take off the rest of this padding and screen protectors and move them to the side. And then on a traditional pinball machine, we have a switch on the bottom of the cabinet right underneath. And this one has one as well. So we'll go through the boot and boot it up so you don't have to worry about the master in the back. Just takes a couple minutes to boot up. And then it loads the front end with the menu to all the games. The colored buttons in the front are actually nudge buttons, and the game selection buttons are on the right hand side of the cabinet. The coin button is in the front. The start button is on the front, above the plunger, and that's it. You're ready to go. Thank you very much for watching.